Welcome to the Ben Buzz. I'm Benny King, and we have once again what is really looking like to be an incredible week. I mean, we've got some incredible college football games, some incredible noon games. We've got a nice 2:30 slate, like all across the board. Today has really the potential to be great. Now, there's been better weeks. I know there's going to be some duds on here. Ole Miss is playing the Citadel. Are you kidding me? But there are some opportunities for some good games, so we'll have to see what ends up happening. But a lot of rivalries, a lot of interesting conference play, and we'll see some of these are possible trap games, but we do still have our ranked matchups. Now, starting off, number 5, Georgia, they go on the road at Mississippi State. Now, I know on the surface you might think, oh, Georgia wins this easy, but Georgia has been close with just about everybody. They were close with Florida. They were close with Tennessee. They butt heads with just about anybody. They were neck and neck with Auburn, So Georgia kind of has that play style. And Mississippi State, well, they really should have beat Texas. I don't know how they threw that game away. They barely lost to Florida. They beat Arizona State, who was ranked number 11th at the time. That was a pretty good win for the Bulldogs, and they finally got their first win in SEC play last weekend. So Mississippi State isn't terrible, and you're playing them at home. And also they went to overtime with Tennessee, if I didn't mention that. Mississippi State nearly beat Tennessee when they were ranked 11th or something. Now Tennessee has fallen to the bottom of the rankings. I believe Tennessee's still barely ranked, so it doesn't look as great. But Mississippi State isn't terrible. They've contended with teams. So I think a certain similar thing could happen here. I don't think Georgia finds a way to lose this game. I don't know. Shopping has been a great coach, a great player, great quarterback for Mississippi State. But I just feel like Georgia is going to find a way. I feel like that's kind of just what Georgia does this season. They kind of mess around with teams. They mess around with Ole Miss, Tennessee, Florida, Auburn for a while, and eventually they just come out on top. It's like what they do. I want to pick the upset, but I don't know if Mississippi State has this in them. I would hope that they do. I would hope to see this on the field. So show me that you can do this, Mississippi State, but I just can't pick them. So I got Georgia here, but it's going to be close. I mean, Georgia's close with everybody. I would be shocked if this wasn't close. So give me Georgia 20-17. Got Georgia on the road in that one. And then we have an interesting matchup in Lubbock. Got number 8 BYU. They're going on the road at number 9 Texas Tech. College game day will be there. Baron Morton. You got it's gonna be a great matchup. And BYU, they've had an interesting year. They're actually still undefeated. I know they're kind of like the least talked about team, but Bear Bachmeier has been spectacular. 300 yards and 2 touchdowns against Iowa State. Now, maybe they're not getting talked about because he wears 47. I know it's a little off-putting, but we should probably be talking about BYU more because they're undefeated. It's crazy. So I don't know. And Texas Tech, their only loss was on the road at Arizona State, and that was Arizona State with Sam Leavitt. When Sam Leavitt's playing for Arizona State, they're a different team, so you can't really fault them too much for that loss. And hey, that Sam Leavitt team, they won it last year in the Big 12. So now BYU, they have a chance. And they're on the road at Lubbock. That's the problem, is that they're going to Texas Tech. It's going to be a really tough atmosphere for them. I don't know how well they're going to fare in Texas Tech. Texas Tech has turned other people's home stadiums into theirs. Evidence is what they did to Utah earlier in the year, where they completely flipped the game and all of a sudden it was 31-10 and they just dismantled them. So this is a really tough one, and obviously College game day is going there. So it's going to be really interesting and just a great atmosphere, and I'm really hyped for the Baron Morton Bachmeier matchup. So I would love to see BYU go in there and do this, and I really like their jerseys. Like when BYU played Utah and they both wear their color rushes, that was incredible. Now I lean Texas Tech here purely because they're at home, and when Baron Morton's healthy, when things are clicking, they look unstoppable. And while it feels like they might have more, they only have the one loss. They only had that loss to Arizona State, and they kind of just squander and strangle teams. And I don't know if they'll be able to do that against BYU, but the way they played against Arizona State, it's like they were on the road with their backup. And Will Hammond, he's injured too, but then they got Baron Morton back. I'm like, geez, do they have another quarterback on this roster who can play great? But everyone just keeps getting hurt. But it looks like Morton is back in the lineup. So I like Texas Tech. I think BYU could, but I just can't pick them here. So I got Texas Tech. Got him 30-27. I think Texas Tech can win this one at home, and BYU is a very tough opponent, so we'll see what happens when we get that college game day matchup in Lubbock. Then number 2, Indiana, they're going on the road at Penn State, and this is another one where we thought was going to be a great matchup. We were kind of worried. We're like, yeah, Indiana might fall out, but, Penn State will still be ranked. But instead, it's the opposite. Indiana rose all the way to Penn State's preseason ranking, by the way, and took that number 2 spot. Penn State's nowhere to be found. Penn State, it really is sad. Like, what do you even say about Penn State? They just keep losing. And some of these games, they are losing close. Like, they're not always getting blown out, but still waiting for their first Big Ten win, 0-5. And it's just a tough schedule because we were kind of looking at this a few weeks ago saying, all right, when are they gonna or will they get a Big Ten win? But it was like, well, there's number 1 Ohio State, number 2 Indiana, or it's just like, when does it stop? Now, when they go on the road at Michigan State, I don't even know if you have confidence that they'll win that one, or when they host Nebraska or at Rutgers, just because you're like, how good is this team really? Now, they did play pretty good against Iowa. I will say that. My team nearly squandered that. We did end up coming back and winning, but that was Penn State's real chance to really flip their season and probably should have beat us. But I think just about after that, like Ohio State and Indiana, number 1 and number 2, they're just going to get blown out back-to-back. And I know it's their stadium this time, but it's Indiana. You see Cignetti, this isn't a team that overlooks teams or, will just fall into a trap game. They understand the importance. Cignetti has those guys rolling, and there were some injury concerns for some guys. I don't think it matters too much. They just hoping that they get them back later on, and with guys that are in the running for the Blitnikoff or, whatever the case may be. But Fernando Mendoza is still in the running for that Heisman. Do I think he'll get it? I don't know. That was a little bit of a dud last week against Maryland, but I think they're going to win on the road at Penn State somewhat comfortably. I got them 34-17. Now, it could be close. Now, Penn State could throw a good punch. That's fine. It's at home. It's very possible if they get some things to go their way, if they get a turnover, if they get something like that. But I just don't see it. Indiana's too good. I got the Hoosiers on the road. And then we got Ole Miss taking on the Citadel. Wow. Got an FCS matchup. Wow, what a game to just mess up this week. Ole Miss by 1,000,000. Then number 1 Ohio State, they're going on the road at Purdue. Now, this is another one where you'd say, oh, it's Ohio State by 1,000,000, but Purdue did pretty good against Michigan. And now Ohio State goes to Purdue. They're known as the spoiler makers in these type of scenarios. I don't know. Now, I don't think you say that they win, but Purdue went on the road at Michigan in the Big House in a nightcap and only lost by 5 and was really in that game. So now they come back home, but I feel like Ohio State's watching that tape. So I would be surprised if they were spoiler makers in this one. That would be a pretty cool storyline for them, as they're 2-7, so they need something to just save their season. They're already no chance of getting bowl eligibility unless they're 5-7 and they have good academic standards. If that sometimes gets you in. I remember happened with Minnesota a few years ago where they were all their GPAs were high enough and they were 5-7 and they got a bowl game. But Ohio State's not going to lose on the road to Purdue. Hey, if they do, spoiler makers. Make it happen, spoiler makers. But I just don't see you guys doing that. I don't think you can. I got Ohio State 41, Purdue 20. Then the Syracuse Orange are going on the road at number 18, Miami. Syracuse, they really made me upset a few weeks ago. I picked them over Georgia Tech. I don't know why. I think because they're the Orange. I think that's what I said, because I like Orange. I do like Orange. I'm a big Bronco fan as well, so gotta love Orange. But they really let me down, and they got dominated, where it felt like Georgia Tech was close with just about everybody. And, of course, they lose right after that, so I just picked the wrong week. I'm like, guys, really? You just letting me down like that? And now they're going to Miami. Now, Miami is an interesting one. Now, they're falling down in the rankings. They're not going to lose to Syracuse. I'm sorry, they're just not. I'm surprised that they're down at number 18. And not that they're at 18 necessarily, but I'm confused with how high Notre Dame is, because they beat them. And it kind of felt like they had better wins, where it feels like they're valuing Notre Dame's losses more in that regard. But I figured they'd be closer in the rankings. The separation is crazy. I'm kind of surprised about that. But Miami's going to win here. It's going to be like 37-20. I would be really surprised if Syracuse won this. I got Miami at home. Now, here's an interesting one. We get number 3 Texas A&M. They're going to number 19 Missouri. Now, what's interesting about this, Missouri is home, and obviously they're going to be big underdogs in this one. They've lost to Vandy. They've lost to Bama, and Vandy ended up dropping in the rankings after that loss to Texas. But what's interesting about this one is Bo Pribula, quarterback for Missouri. He did get injured in that Vandy game, so not going to play here. That's a bummer. So their season might be a wash. Now, they're not out of the rankings yet, because I appreciate what they're doing is that they're not projecting of what he would be, what the team would be without him there, kind of like what people were saying with Oklahoma. We're like, well, we can't put him down yet because we haven't seen him on the field. We can't just do it as if we're, projecting about what they'll be without John Mateer. Same case here with Bo Pribula on Missouri. So Texas A&M, I would be surprised with Marcel Reed and with that defense that usually falls flat against the road, but they just had an incredible LSU road win where they usually fall flat on the road, but they performed really well on the road. And Missouri, the season might be a wash, and this might be the final one that actually knocks them out of the top 25 for good. Maybe they shouldn't. I don't know. Tennessee is still in the top 25 after being 3-loss, but I just think Texas A&M goes on the road, and I would be surprised if they don't win. Texas A&M's just really good, and I feel like they can't mess up their chances. They've got some tough games ahead, like Texas is going to be huge, and they really need to win that one. But I got Texas A&M on the road. Now, I got Texas A&M on the road, and I don't think Missouri. I still like Missouri, but I feel like it's just so unfortunate Pribula getting injured. Now, if they were at home with Pribula at full strength, you might say, well, maybe they kind of give Texas A&M a run for their money because they haven't been the best on the road. But I got Missouri in that one. They're going to win at home 30-20. Now, number 6, Oregon's going to Iowa. Now, I won't give a score prediction or even pick a winner on this one because I've been freaking out too much on this one. Don't want to jinx or reverse jinx it. Those who watch the channel know that I also have a series called Hawkeye State of Mind if you want to see an in-depth review of that game. But honestly, I've just been panicking about this one. The number 6 Ducks come to town in the CFP ranking. It's number 9 versus number 20. Iowa has a real chance to really do something with their season, and it starts today. It starts with a win over Oregon at home in tough conditions, which we just saw Oregon just struggling. Both teams are coming off a bye week, a lot of chances to get rest and come up off of injuries. We'll see how much that kind of involves with rust, but both teams having the same type of thing. And Oregon's got to come cross country to Iowa City, playing Kinnick in those elements in a tough environment, not just the fans, but the atmosphere and the elements. It's going to be rainy, it's going to be yucky, it's going to be gross. We'll see how the Ducks end up faring, and we'll see how these birds are doing in the rain. So I'm hoping Iowa gets the job done, but we'll see when they host Oregon later today. Then Auburn goes to number 15, Vanderbilt. Now, this one is really interesting. Now, Vanderbilt really needs to get back on track. Now, they only have the 2 losses, Alabama and then Texas. You couldn't lose to Texas there. They could have been 11-1. Now, I do think they still have an outside shot for the playoffs for sure. Look, they're number 15. If they were to win out, maybe they don't make the SEC championship, but they don't have that many spots to climb, and they're in the playoff. So Vanderbilt's not too far out, but they got to beat Auburn here, and I think they do. Auburn, they've been close with a lot of teams. Just let Hugh Freeze go, and then the Arnold guy that they got from Oklahoma. It looked like it was working out early, but, they lost. The officiating, the SEC had to apologize twice for the officiating in the Oklahoma game and the Georgia game, so they got screwed a lot, and there was a lot of games that they should have won. Honestly, Auburn, it's just an unfortunate year, and they still got rid of Hugh Freeze. I understand it, but a lot of the losses, at a certain point, you can't lose 3-10 to Kentucky. I understand that one, but all the other ones, it didn't make sense, so they waited until that one happened. So it's a bummer for Hugh Freeze and Auburn that their season ended up the way it did, but Vanderbilt's going to clean up at home, which I would be surprised. Pavi is really good. They're going to win at home, 34-17. Auburn's just not great in these scenarios. They're better at trap games at home. And, they went to Oklahoma and contended. And then they came back home and they played Georgia and contended. But now, after all the momentum that they lost, after the coach firing, I just don't think they'll be able to contend with the number 15 team in the nation. Now, number 24, Washington. They're going on the road at Wisconsin. Now, Sconsin. So, Wisconsin is kind of a wash season for them. So, they haven't been playing very well. They're also still waiting for their Big Ten win, similar to Penn State. Will it happen here? Well, let's think about this. Washington doesn't do the best against Big Ten teams when they got to go cross-country. They do the best at home. Same thing with USC. When USC played Michigan at home, they squandered them. Then they had to go all the way to Illinois the week before or so, and they lost on the road at Illinois. Now, Washington has something similar. They beat Illinois at home somewhat handedly, but then the week before when they went all the way to Michigan, it didn't go great. Now, Wisconsin's just not good enough to take advantage of that type of jet lag, so it's just not going to happen. Washington's going to win 33-10. Honestly, I'd be surprised if Wisconsin scores too much. Washington has legit playoff hopes. That's just crazy. They're 6-2, and then you look at the rest of their schedule. If they were to win out, they got Wisconsin on the road, right? And then they host Purdue. Now, you'd think they'd be able to win both of those. Now they're 8-2, right? Now they're on the road at UCLA after that. Now, UCLA's been different after the coaches got fired, but they also got ran out of the building by Indiana, which you can say that's fair. That's Indiana. I agree. I agree with that. But now that they're not having bowl eligibility, you could maybe see that Washington could go on the road and win that one. And then the big one is it could be for a playoff spot. We'll have to see what it ends up being, but it legitimately could be because Washington, I mean, they host Oregon. We'll see how good Oregon is when they get there, like if Iowa were to beat them today or if USC beats Oregon. If someone, I feel like Iowa, Washington, USC, I feel like somebody's got to beat Oregon. We'll see if anybody does, but Washington has a great chance to be 9-2 and end up playing in their own building in Husky Stadium with a chance to beat Oregon and possibly make the college football playoff. But they're not going to lose to Wisconsin. They're just not. Washington is too good, so they're going to clean up on the road in Wisconsin. Then Wake Forest, they're going on the road at number 12, Virginia. Now, Wake Forest looked like their season was on the come-up, but tough loss last week. And then Virginia has been close with just about everybody. Now, they are 8-1. They lost to NC State, which does look better with NC State knocking off Georgia Tech, by the way. So maybe we can't fault them too much for that. But Wake Forest, I mean, the Demon Deacons have been on the come-up, but they're just not going to lose to Virginia, I don't think. I mean, Virginia's been close with everybody, so take this with a massive grain of salt. I mean, take everything with Virginia with a massive grain of salt. Like in the top 25 videos, I still don't know what to do with Virginia because they're so weird. So I think they win at home, but it's going to be close again, probably. I got Virginia 27-24. They've been close with everybody. They're so weird. And even last week where it's like, oh, they won by 10. Well, actually, they were up only by 3, and Cal was driving late with a chance to either take the lead or, tie it or win, and they end up throwing a pick 6, and then it looks like, oh, they won by 10, where it's just like, Virginia's weird, man. So I got Virginia at home, but wouldn't be surprised if they lose or if it's close because this is Virginia. This Virginia team is so weird. They're like TCU a few years ago, but Virginia's going to win at home against Wake Forest. Then Cal, they're going on the road at number 14, Louisville. Now, Louisville's pretty good. They got wins like JMU, Pittsburgh, Miami. So Louisville's building up actually quite the resume. Maybe you say they're ranked too low, but they do have that Virginia loss. But Virginia's been close with everybody, and they lost in overtime. So Louisville's pretty good. They're going to win at home at Cal, and they just saw Cal kind of shock Virginia a little bit. Now, Virginia didn't lose, but I don't think Louisville's going to lose at home. They're just not going to. So I got Louisville. It's going to be like 37-30. I think it could be high scoring. You know what? Let me chalk that down. California scores 27. 37-27. I got Louisville at home, and I think they're going to do more than enough. Braum is so great in these types of situations, and he's really great against top 5 teams, which is crazy. So Louisville's not going to squander this, and they have a great chance to make the ACC championship. We'll end up seeing how Virginia and Georgia Tech do. If they could make it to that game, it would be really interesting, but got Louisville in that one. Then Navy's going to Notre Dame. Now, this could have been a ranked matchup had Navy won last week. They lost. And now they're playing a Notre Dame team on the road that has been taking care of business. Now, after their losses, like Notre Dame started 0-2. The fact that they're number 10 in the country is wild. They really had to climb back up there because they knew that they couldn't take anything for granted. They knew that every game was a playoff game. They knew that one more loss would kick them out. They knew that. And now, they've been taking care of business. So now they host Navy. And we'll see what ends up happening. Now, Notre Dame, very interesting scenario here because Notre Dame needs to win. Now, Navy isn't great. We know this. They haven't been great. Now, they actually were pretty good in their own conference. I mean, they were 7-0 at one point. So Navy was actually pretty stellar, but that loss last week was unfortunate for Navy. And they were having such a good season. They were having such great momentum, but they end up dropping the one to North Texas on the road. It's a tough place to play, but then again, USF dropped 60 in North Texas's building. So I don't know how much you say it's a good place to play. I think North Texas is just good. So Notre Dame is going to take care of business. I do like Navy, but every year Notre Dame plays Navy, and every year it's a bloodbath. So Notre Dame's going to win. I'm going to say it's like 41-20. Now, I feel like I've said that same score. Give me 23. Navy scores 23-41. Now, Notre Dame is going to be really interesting, and when they host Navy, we'll see what happens, but I would be really shocked. CJ Carr, and then their rushing attack. Oh, my goodness. And they're one of the better coached teams in the league, Marcus Freeman. And Jeremiah Love is going to try to lead this team to the promised land as he did last year. Then LSU goes on the road at number 4 Alabama. Now, this could have been a ranked matchup. It looked like it was going to be a better game than it is. But we end up having LSU unranked, Brian Kelly's gone, and number 4 Alabama. Now, I would be so shocked if Alabama found a way to lose. Now, that doesn't mean I don't think it's close, especially with teams when they fire their coach. It's kind of the year of the interim coach, as Jack had said a few weeks ago, where it's just like, we're still Not sure how coaches are going to play right after the original coach was fired. It kind of feels like it's hit and miss whether they play better or worse. So we'll see what ends up happening for Alabama. Now, Alabama, they really need to take care of business. I mean, they're pretty good. I mean, number 4 in the country. Alabama could realistically lose again and still be in. It's just that their loss isn't great to Florida State. But they've been pretty good. I mean, they're number 4. And really the only thing keeping them out of the top 3 is that loss. Because you look at those top 3, it's kind of the undefeated territory. But Alabama's going to win. They just all are. So when they host LSU, I think it could be close. Like, I'm going to go 24-21. I think it's going to be similar to the South Carolina game that we just saw a few weeks ago, but they are at home, and I think that's going to give them just enough, and I think they're going to take care of business and beat LSU. And once again, while I do think it could be close, I do think Alabama cleans it up at home. I feel like that's kind of a lot of this where it's like Notre Dame, Alabama, Louisville, Virginia, Vanderbilt. They're all at home. It's all about taking care of business in these types of trap games. Texas Tech's at home. Seems like Georgia, they got to go on the road. Indiana, Ohio State, Oregon's got to go on the road. A&M's got to go on the road. Washington's got to go cross country. So it's going to be very interesting this week. We've got some set of ranked games. We've got trap games. That's what it felt like last week. It's like we got some trap games, and we ended up having a lot of them actually kind of pay off. I mean, Vanderbilt, tough trap game going into Texas, who was kind of underrated because, I mean, they just weren't playing well. And honestly, we got really interesting set of trap games, ranked games. Going to be a really great weekend of college football, so we'll end up seeing what happens with these picks, and we'll have to see how these end up aging. Now, I'm feeling pretty good about a lot of these, but once again, it's going to be a lot of trap games, and we'll see if any of them we'll see if any of the home teams here end up pulling off some of these upsets. All right, now it's once again time to get into the buzzsaw where I make picks based on raw saw instincts. So we got SMU going on the road at Boston College. Boston College is not good. Give me SMU. Colorado on the road at West Virginia. West Virginia just had a huge upset. Colorado's on the decline. Give me West Virginia. James Madison, the Dukes. He wrote the Constitution. I say that every week, but listen, he did. James Madison wins it. Southern Miss on the road at Arkansas State. Like we said a few weeks ago, peak of migration season. Southern Miss has got it. Temple on the road at Army. I'll take Army at home. Then, let's see, Missouri State, they're going on the road at Liberty. Give me the Flames. Then Bowling Green, they're going on the road at Eastern Michigan. Ooh, I know someone that goes to Eastern Michigan, so give me them. Then UAB's going on the road at Rice. Man, I mean, Rice is pretty tasty, but the Dragon logo does look scary, but I think you give Rice the edge here. Then we got 2 similar logos. We got an M and an R for Maryland and Rutgers. Rutgers, the Scarlet Knights, and then the Terps. Would they win? No, I think no. Maryland gets their first win in Big Ten play. I think that's no. I don't know if it's their first. Regardless, Maryland wins. Louisiana Tech on the road to Delaware. Ooh, yeah, give me Louisiana Tech. Florida International, Middle Tennessee. I'll take Middle Tennessee at home there. Then Jacksonville State and UTEP. Ooh, I'll take Jacksonville State though. Charlotte on the road at East Carolina. East Carolina's actually been pretty respectable. I'll take them. Tulsa on the road at Florida Atlantic. Ooh, I mean. Ooh, I don't know. I guess I'll take Florida Atlantic, right? Sure. Then Duke's going on the road at UConn. Duke's been pretty good. This is huge for both of their seasons. I take Duke, though. And Kansas, Arizona, who, I mean, a Wildcat and a Jayhawk, right? I think the Wildcat snatches them out of the air, right? Am I wrong? Arizona's got that one. Iowa State goes on the road at TCU. Going to take the horns of the Horned Frogs, and they're going to get that one there. Then Kennesaw State, they're going on the road at New Mexico State. Kennesaw State's been pretty good, actually. They're already bowl eligible. Huge story for Kennesaw State. They take the one there. Georgia State, they're going on the road to Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina, not only do they have the teal field, I just saw an ad. They're doing, like, free concessions. They deserve to win for that. So give me Coastal Carolina. Then Stanford on the road at North Carolina. Ooh, does Bill Belichick have another ACC win in him? Nah, Stanford's got it. Then Texas State, they're going on the road at Louisiana. Well, once again, we say it every week, Ragin' Cajuns. We're taking the Cajun fries in this one. Give me Louisiana. Air Force on the road at San Jose State. I don't know. Air Force just had a tough loss, right? I don't know. Sure, I'll take Air Force. No. I'm taking San Jose State. Then Wake Forest. No, I already did that one. Florida State going on the road at Clemson. This could have been a ranked matchup. It really should have been. Wow. But Clemson at home, Florida State, ooh. Give me Clemson. I don't know what I'm talking about. Give me Clemson. Then Florida's going on the road to Kentucky. Man, I mean, both of these teams aren't great, but I think Florida's better. maybe just a tad bit, just a tidbit. Nevada's going on the road at Utah State, and I'm going to take Utah State in that one, and then Nebraska on the road at UCLA. Whew. I mean, this one is huge for, positioning because, UCLA, how much are they really fighting for at this point in the season? Nebraska has a chance to get the bowl eligibility. I think Nebraska does it. I think Nebraska wins. Then UNLV, they're going on the road at Colorado State. UNLV, I'll take UNLV, but they haven't been the best. Then Sam Houston's going on the road to Oregon State. Man, this is a huge matchup between teams with more than 7 losses. Man, this is a heavyweight battle. We'll have to see when me and Jack do our episode who ends up being the worst or the best team of that amount of losses. Could be either one of these. Who's going to lose, though? Oregon State at home, I think they win, but their only win is against like an FCS school or something, Lafayette something. But I think Oregon State's going to beat Sam Houston. Sam Houston's just not good. Neither of them are good. Then San Diego State, this sucks because I want to pick the Rainbow Warriors, but the Aztecs are actually pretty good. So going to have to go San Diego State there at the Rainbow Warriors. That's a bummer. I wanted to pick the Rainbow Warriors. That's all right, though. So it was a very interesting week of the Buzzsaw. So we'll see how these picks end up aging, and we'll see how many I got right. I'll try to get back on track, and we'll see if any of these are correct. So we'll have to see on Saturday. All right, well, that's going to conclude this episode of the Ben Buzz. Really appreciate anyone clicking on this, and I'll try to get back on track with Jack with our reactions, and I'm going to try to do an NFL episode and then some other content. Hit the channel soon, so hopefully that ends up working out. And I know I've been saying, I'll get back on track a few weeks in a row. That's my bad on that, but really going to try to do that this weekend. We're going to see if we're able to, and just really appreciate anyone that's clicking on this video. Really do. So really going to have to see if I'm able to get back on track. I think I will. And we'll have to see if this college football week is going to be interesting because we got some ranked matchups, but there's a lot of opportunities for trap games, a lot of rivalries, possibly like LSU, Alabama is going to be great. So it's going to be a great weekend and really interested to see what happens with college football and what could be a possibility for a lot of upsets could really change the landscape of the sport. We'll have to see what happens on Saturday. This is the Ben Buzz. I'm Betty King, and thanks for tuning in.